They first saw it on the fourth day of the long summer, not just a sun, but a face within it. Not a vague smudge or imagined trick of light, but a perfectly clear visage, chubby cheeks, wide innocent eyes, and a smile so bright it seemed to warm the bones of anyone who looked at it. It was the face of a child, no older than 5, gazing down upon the village of Bearvale as though it had always been there. Farmers stopped mid-plow. Bakers let their bread burn. Children laughed, pointing skyward and calling it Sonny Boy. But among the elders, there was a silence, and in that silence, unease. By dusk, the laughter had grown thinner. The next morning, the sun rose again with the same child's face. But something had changed. The air was heavier, hotter. By midday, leaves on the orchard trees had curled at the edges, and the shallows of the river steamed faintly. Old Granny Morwen hobbled through the square, muttering about omens and curses. Seen it before, she croaked. A century ago, the sky wore the face of a lost soul, and famine followed. Most dismissed her words until night came, and the sun did not set. Bearvale spent the long hours in a strange, dim glow, bathed in light that never softened. No stars, no moon, just that golden child, smiling down without rest. On the third day, a girl named Lira decided to speak to it. Barefoot in the town square, she cupped her hands and shouted toward the sky, "If you're real, blink twice." The sun's face blinked twice. The crowd gasped. Lira shouted again, "Why are you here?" The mouth in the sky moved, but no sound came. Instead, a single tear, molten gold, slipped from the sun's eye and fell like a comet beyond the western ridge. The laughter that followed was nervous, and children no longer pointed for fun. By dawn, the tear's landing site glowed faintly on the horizon. The village council decided someone should investigate. Though volunteers were scarce, Lira insisted on leading the way. She was joined by Bram, a broad-shouldered blacksmith, and Fen, a quiet healer with a limp. They traveled past withered wheat fields and into forests, where the air shimmered with heat. The birds had stopped singing. By the third mile, Fen nearly collapsed, mumbling that it felt like walking inside a furnace's breath. Still, they pushed on until they reached a crater filled with what looked like liquid light, shimmering and pulsing as though it were alive. At its center floated a small golden sphere, spinning gently. Lira stepped forward, drawn as if by invisible strings. When her fingers touched the sphere, the sky quivered. The sun's face above frowned, its eyes filling with fresh tears. The light grew blinding. The heat became unbearable. Bram grabbed for Lira's arm, but her hand seemed fused to the sphere. She turned to him, her expression eerily calm. "He's lost," she whispered. "He doesn't know the way home." The ground cracked beneath them. A column of fire erupted from the crater's edge, swallowing Bram before he could scream. Lyra's eyes glowed with gold as she spoke again. Her voice doubled, as though someone else were speaking through her. "I can guide him, but I must go." And then she was gone, vanished in a burst of light that sealed the crater shut as if it had never existed. The sun's child face above smiled once more, blinked, and then faded away, leaving an ordinary, fiery disk that sank toward the horizon. Night fell, true night, for the first time in days. The people of Bearvale mourned Bram, and they mourned Lira, though no one could decide whether she had died or ascended. Weeks passed, the crops revived, birds returned. Life became ordinary again, though the memory of those strange days remained, spoken of only in hushed voices. It was on Midsummer's Eve that the impossible happened. Children playing by the river saw golden ripples spread across the water. From it stepped Lira, unchanged except for the robe she wore, woven from pure sunlight. Her eyes held the weight of countless dawns, yet she laughed the same familiar laugh. "He's home now," she said simply, "and he's watching." But from far away, high above, for just a heartbeat, the sun blinked twice, and in Bearvale, no one ever looked at the morning sky quite the same way again. This version keeps the full arc as one immersive, unbroken read, building suspense and delivering the emotional highs and lows without breaking the reader's flow. Here are impactful life lessons, drawn from the sun with the face of a child. 1. Unusual signs deserve attention, not dismissal. Strange occurrences can signal deeper truths. Ignoring them can cost dearly. 2. Curiosity drives discovery. Lira's questions unlock the mystery. Asking why is often the first step toward solutions. 3. Courage is contagious. One person's boldness can move an entire community to action. 4. Children can be vessels of wisdom, insight, and leadership that are not bound by age. 5. Fear blinds, but wonder opens doors. The adults hesitated. The child's wonder opened communication with the sun. 6. Nature reflects our spiritual state. Environmental changes often parallel deeper disruptions in balance. 7. Not all sacrifices are visible victories. Bram's loss saved others, though it came without glory. 8. Guidance sometimes means leaving. Helping others may require you to walk a path away from those you love. 9. Power can be both a gift and a burden. Lyra's connection to the sphere was beautiful, but dangerous. 10. Light can burn as easily as it can warm. Good things, in excess, can harm. 11. Small voices can reach high places. Lyra's call was heard by something as vast as the sun. 12. Communities thrive on shared courage. Even reluctant volunteers made the journey possible. 13. Listening is as important as speaking. The sun had no voice, but its tears spoke volumes. 14. Mystery invites responsibility. Witnessing something extraordinary places a duty on the observer to respond. 15. Loss can lead to renewal. The tragedy cleared the way for the return of the natural order. 16. Legends carry warnings for the future. Old Granny Morwen's story was not superstition, but survival wisdom. 17. Acts of bravery echo for generations. Lyra's name became part of Bear Vale's lasting identity. 18. Some truths are too vast to fully explain. Lyra's journey home with the sun remains partially unknown. 19. Change often comes with both joy and grief. Transformation rarely arrives without cost. 20. Hope survives through memory. The sun's final blink reminded the village that even after loss, connection remains. Sometimes the sky sends a sign, so strange and beautiful that it shakes the dust from your soul. When that happens, pause and let it sink into you. Such moments are rare, and they change you if you let them. Courage doesn't always wear armor. Sometimes it's a barefoot child in the town square, speaking to the impossible. A single act of boldness can ripple outward, giving others the permission to step forward too. Nature speaks in more than words. In the curl of a leaf, the color of a river, the silence of birds. If you learn to listen, you'll hear when something is wrong long before the trouble arrives. Sacrifice is not always grand and celebrated. Sometimes it's a quiet choice in the heat of a moment. A life traded so others may keep going. These are the roots of the world's survival. The gifts we are given often come with weight. Light can warm, but it can also burn. Love can heal, but it can also demand. The key is balance, knowing when to give and when to step back. Some journeys take you away from everything you know, not to abandon it, but to save it. Leaving can be an act of love just as powerful as staying. The smallest voice can carry the farthest when it speaks from truth. Even the sky itself might lean down to listen. Loss and renewal are two strands of the same thread. A season of grief often makes room for something new to take root, not to replace what was lost, but to grow alongside the memory of it. The stories of our elders may sound like shadows from another age, but they are often maps drawn in time, warning us where danger hides. Dismiss them and you may walk straight into the jaws they tried to point out. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved, but to be lived with. They remind us that the world is deeper than our understanding, and that wonder is not diminished by uncertainty. Change rarely arrives wearing only joy or only sorrow. It carries both, braided together like sunlight and rain. And if you stand in the middle of it, you may see a rainbow. And finally, hope does not always shine in the present. Sometimes it glows from a memory, a fleeting image you carry in your mind's sky. The sun with the face of a child. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more amazing content.